Hi, thanks for spending some time checking this video out. I'm going to spend a little time today playing Fanfare for the Common Man by Copland. It's a wonderful piece, and it's, I like to use it as a practice excerpt. Not to play it over and over again to try and perfect the qualities, although that's something that I do, but to use it as a kind of a test to see where I am as a player. So there are several things when you're playing this excerpt that are very fundamental things that we need to be able to do really well. I'm going to go ahead and play it for you, and at least part of it. And then we'll go back and take a look at some of those things that anyone can practice. Maybe not at this pitch level, but at some pitch level that's comfortable for you to play. So here we go. Okay, this is difficult because it's so precise. You have these open intervals, fourths and fifths. You're playing in unison with two other trumpet players. And so you can tell a whole lot by the way a person plays this. And there's always something to kind of polish and sharpen. But let's start with that basic thing. Most people have a little bit of difficulty with the descending slur into the low register because you're playing, up to the top of the staff and above, and all of a sudden, you take that big slur that goes down below the staff. So you're moving a lot of air, and you have to be free to move that air and keep that flow going enough so that you can sustain that quality of sound and the stability of the sound. As I said before, stability is really the key here. So if you can't do that by yourself and have it sound good and record it and have it sound good, then you know what to practice. Now, what I would do is take something like that passage, that shift, I'd just be practicing that arpeggio descending very slowly, listening to the connection between the notes, listening to the quality of the sound, listening to the stability of the sound, listening to the pitch. Now, if you need some help with that, you can, what I used to do is I used to take my tuner. This is in the old days before we had an app on a phone, on a little handheld computer. But I'd take a tuner, a dedicated tuner, plug it into my stereo system, and put a drone on through the stereo so it was loud enough that I could play and my sound would interact with the sound coming out of the stereo system. You can hear whether you're playing correctly because the sound, just like when you're playing with another player, because the sound is coming into phase or it's out of phase. And that's the best way to train your ear to play in tune. Now that's a whole different subject. We're going to have to spend some time on that later on because playing in tune, everybody knows that we should. And everybody tries to do it, at least to some degree, but it's actually quite difficult to play in tune with physical ease. And most people are sacrificing their physical ease and their control when they're trying to play in tune. So for now, let's not worry so much about the pitch. Listen for it, work on it, refine it, try and see if you can perfect it. But listen to the stability of the timbre and the dynamic of the sound and see if there's any shakiness in it. I just did a video on vibrato, a couple of them. And I could be using vibrato, and that would make it a little easier for me here. But very much vibrato is really not something you want to do here because you're playing in unison. You want the sounds to blend. You don't want any kind of waviness in the sound. So work on that stability. That's going to be a huge part of it. And remember, if you can't play a scale, if you can't play arpeggios over this range with a stable sound, you're not ready to really practice this excerpt. Now, it might, for some of you, this might be difficult in terms of range. And it is, you know, it goes to the edges of what most of us are comfortable with. And you might not be able to go that far with the upper register. In that case, what I recommend is that you practice it, transposing it down. Practice it in different keys. So, okay, now I'm all the way down to C. That is going to be more physically comfortable. And if you can do that and feel comfortable with the, you know, get the stability in the sound to be easy for you, it should be easier to get the pitch to kind of flow and be appropriate there, then start coming back up into the register. It's a great way to practice, and it's a little bit more relaxing than just pounding away at this excerpt over and over again, which can be very tiring and discouraging, as most of us know who have been in rehearsals where the conductor does it over and over and over again. And not being a trumpet player themselves, they don't understand what the physical limitations are, and they don't care. And then you have to play it in the concert that night. So the rule for a professional player is be ready. And that means prepare yourself physically and mentally to do whatever you need to do so that it's not a burden to you, so that it's fun to do it. Okay, now there are a lot of other things going on here. When you're playing the piece, you have a conductor usually. And when the conductor is, is beating, you have a good idea of where that next beat's going to come. If you're playing this as an audition piece, or if you're leading it, then you want to have that feeling of pace. And this is marked in the original, it's marked at 52. I think I'm playing a little quicker than that, and most performances are a bit quicker. But not all performances. If you go listen, you'll hear a variety. So let's see how close I can get to 52. I'm just guessing here. So you get the idea. Most trumpet players don't like to sustain like that. That's why we need to practice it. When you do it without straining, resting enough staying fresh as much as possible instead of beating yourself to a pulp, as I spent many years doing, by the way, I admit it, then it starts to get easier and more comfortable. And that's one of the great things that you can use this particular piece as a drill to help you get comfortable with that kind of playing. There are many other passages in the literature to do that, because it's one of our big jobs playing in the orchestra is to play with a sustained, heroic kind of sound on the trumpet. And so that means we need to get comfortable with it. So I hope this has been an encouragement to you, and that you will find some of these things useful in your practice. So why don't you go practice? But remember, no forcing. When you feel strain, you've gone too far already. Push yourself away from the table, as they say, before you're full. I'm preaching to myself here, folks, because I like to pound, so, and I know a lot of my students do too. So chill and see what kind of beauty you can get in your voice. Enjoy your practice. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.